Hello witches, and welcome back to the Witch's Nook. So, the quality in this video, like the lighting, is going to be bad. I can tell you that already. I'm using a single candle and a single very dull lamp to film this video. And I'm kind of doing this for a reason, because I don't want to be so, I don't want, you'll see. So, I decided to start a little playlist in here called A Grimm Night. And I will be reading a story from the Grimm's Complete Fairy Tales. And I hope you guys like this. I love all the Grimm's fairy tales, and I'll just be starting with story number 1. Now, story number 1 is called The Frog King, or Iron Henry. In old times, when wishing still helped one, there lived a king whose daughters were all beautiful, but the youngest was so beautiful that the sun itself, which has seen so much, was astonished whenever it shone in her face. Close by the king's castle lay a great dark forest, and under an old lime tree in the forest was a well. And when the day was very warm, the king's children went out into the forest and sat down by the side of the cool fountain. And when she was bored, she took a golden ball and threw up on the high and caught it, and this ball was her favorite plaything. Now, it so happened that one occasion the princess's golden ball did not fall into the hand which she was holding up for it, but on the ground beyond, and rolled straight into the water. The king's daughter followed it with her eyes, but it vanished, and the well was deep, so deep that the bottom could not be seen. At this she began to cry, and cried louder and louder, and could not be comforted. And as thus she lamented, someone said to her, "What ails you, king's daughter? Your tears would melt a heart of stone." She looked around to the side from which the voice came, and saw a frog stretching forth its thick, ugly head from the water. "Ah, old water splasher, it is you," she said. "I am weeping for my golden ball, which was fallen into a well." "Be quiet, and do not weep," answered the frog. "I can help you. But what will you give me if you bring me the plaything up again?" "Whatever you will have, dear frog," she said. "My clothes, my pearls and jewels, and even the golden crown which I am wearing." The frog answered, "I do not care for your clothes, your pearls, your jewels, or your golden crown, but if you will love me and let me be your companion and playmate, and sit by you at your little table, and eat off of your little golden plate, and drink out of your little cup, and sleep in your little bed, if you'll promise me this, I will go down below and bring your golden ball up again." "Oh yes," she said, "I promise you all you wish, if you'll bring me my ball back again." She, however, thought, "Well, how the silly frog does talk. He lives in the water with the other frogs, and croaks, and can be no companion to any human being." But the frog, when it had received this promise, put his head into the water and sank down again, and in a short while came up swimming up again with the ball in his mouth, and threw it on the grass. The king's daughter was so delighted to see her pretty plaything once more, she picked it up and ran away with it. "Wait, wait," said the frog, "take me with you. I can't run as you can." But what did it avail him is that his scream was croak, croak, croak after her as loudly as he could. She did not listen, but ran home and soon forgot the poor frog, who was forced to go back into his well again. The next day, when she had seated herself at the table with the king and all the courtiers, and was eating from her little golden plate, something came creeping, splish, splish, splash, up the marble staircase. And when it got to the top, it knocked on the door and cried, "Princess, youngest princess, open the door for me." She ran to see who it was outside, but then she opened the door, and there sat the frog in front of it. Then she slammed the door in great haste, sat down at the dinner table again, and was quite frightened. The king saw plainly that her heart was beating violently, and said, "My child, what are you so afraid of? Is there no perchance a great giant outside who wants to carry you away?" "Oh no," replied she, "it is not a giant, but a disgusting frog." "What does the frog want with you?" "Oh, dear father, yesterday as I was in the forest sitting by the well, playing, my golden ball fell into the water, and because I cried so, the frog brought it out to me again. and because he so insisted, I promised he should be my companion, but I never thought he'd actually be able to come out of his water. And now he's outside there, and he wants to come into me. In the meantime, it knocked a second time and cried, "Princess, youngest princess, open the door for me. Do you not know what you said to me yesterday by the cool waters of the fountain? Princess, younger princess, open the door for me." "Then," said the king, "that which you have promised you must perform. Go, let him in." She went and opened the door, and the frog hopped in and followed her, step by step, to her chair. There he sat and cried. "Lift me beside you," she delayed, until, at last, the king commanded her to do it. When the frog was once on the chair, he wanted to be on the table, and then when he was on the table, he said, "Now, push your little golden plate nearer to me, and we may eat together." She did this, but it is easy to see she did not do it willingly. The frog enjoyed what he ate, but almost every mouthful she took choked on her. At length he said, "I have eaten, and I am satisfied. Now I am tired. Carry me into your little room, and make your little silken bed ready, and we'll both lie down and go to sleep." The king's daughter began to cry, for she was afraid of the cold frog, which she did not like to touch, and which was now to sleep with her pretty, clean bed. But the king grew angry and said, "He who helped you when you were in trouble ought not to be despised by you afterwards." So she took hold of the frog with 2 fingers, carried him upstairs, and put him in a corner. But when she was in bed, he crept to her and said, "I am tired. I want to sleep as well as you. Lift me up, or I will tell your father." Then she was terribly angry, and took him and threw him with all her might against the wall. "Now you'll be cried, odious frog," she said. But when he fell down, he was no frog, but a king's son, with beautiful, kind eyes. And it came to pass that, with her father's consent, he became her dear companion and husband. He told her how he had been bewitched by a wicked witch, how no one could have delivered him from the well but herself, and that tomorrow they would go together into his kingdom. Then they went to sleep, and the next morning the sun awoke. Then a carriage came driving up with 8 white horses, which had a white ostrich feathers on their heads, and were harnessed with golden chains. Behind stood the young king's servant, Faithful Henry. Faithful Henry had been so unhappy when his master had changed into a frog that he had caused 3 iron bands to laid around his heart, lest it should burst with grief and sadness. The carriage was so conduct the young king into his kingdom. Faithful Henry helped them both in, and placed himself behind again, and was so full of joy because of the deliverance, that when he had been driven apart of the way, the king's son heard a cracking behind him as if something had broken, and he turned around and cried, "Henry, the carriage is breaking." "No, master, it is not the carriage. It is the band from my heart, which was put there in my great pain when you were a frog and imprisoned in the well." Again, and once again, while they were on their way, something cracked, and each time the king's son thought the carriage was breaking, but it was only the bands which were springing from the heart of Faithful Henry, because his master was set free and happy. There you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed this little story. Next time we will be reading, if I can find it, Cat and Mouse in Partnership. If you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and please don't forget to subscribe, and select that little bell down below, so that way you'll get notified each time I make a video and post it. And if you guys want a Brothers Grimm story that you want me to just jump to inside this, just tell me down below, like Cinderella, Pinocchio, Snow White, Sleeping Beauty, just stuff like that. I'll see you guys next time. I hope you guys have a nice evening, day, lunch, dinner, breakfast, whatever you're doing. Bye!